This is Nancy Lanard from Lanard and Associates, and today I'm going to talk to you about Franchise Law 101, or what you should know before investing in a franchise. So I often get asked the question, why hire a franchise attorney to evaluate the documents? Why not use my brother or my sister or my spouse or a friend who's a general attorney? And the answer to that is that franchise law is a very specialized area of law with a lot of regulations. And therefore, it's very important to have an attorney who is very experienced at reviewing franchise documents, who understands what they're looking at, and who can properly advise you on what's typical and not typical in working with you and counseling you. Next question I get is, isn't it all written in stone? And the answer to that is sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. So it really depends on the franchise system. Regardless of whether it is or it isn't, it's very important to have this legal review to educate yourselves and to have this last step of validating the franchise system before you sign. We have the knowledge, the expertise, and the years of reviewing documents to understand what we're looking at and to be able to properly advise you on what you're entering into and what is typical and what is not typical. This is an important investment. It's a costly investment, both of your finances as well as of your time. And a mistake could be even costlier. So it's very important in your last step of validation to have that legal review. We are responsive, experienced, and we try to do everything for our franchisee clients on a reasonable flat fee basis. And in fact, our fee for single unit franchise document review hasn't changed in over 11 years. So what does the FDD consist of? First of all, the FDD is the franchise disclosure document that you will be given by a franchisor that is a federally required document that contains disclosures that the federal government, the Federal Trade Commission, requires be disclosed to you. There are 23 items of disclosure that are in the front section of the FDD, and these are the same in every FDD that you look at as far as what they're titled. The contents obviously will vary from one to the next. Items 1 and 2 are background about the company, the franchisor, its parents and predecessors, and competition in the industry and regulations in the industry. 2 are about the people that are involved. Items 3 and 4 are the litigation and bankruptcy disclosures. And in a newer system, we would expect there to be no disclosures in those items. In a more mature system, there may be disclosures, and we will take a closer look at what those are and determine whether those are a red flag for you or if those are really just typical. Items 5, 6, and 7 are the financial disclosures, and those are very important to go through very, very carefully. We would recommend even that you read the footnotes to those. Item 5 are the fees you're going to pay the franchisor or its affiliates up front. Item 6 are the fees you're going to pay on an ongoing basis, such as royalties, advertising fund fees, and so forth. And item 7 is a chart that says what it's likely to cost you to open up this business and to operate it typically in the first few months. And it's always told in terms of a range. These items must be written in plain English, and they are meant for you to read on your own. In addition to that, the franchise disclosure document, the FDD, will have the franchise agreement template, which is your contract that you're going to sign with the franchisor. There will be a template of that that's in the FDD. In addition, any other contracts that you're going to be signing with the franchisor, such as an area development agreement, for example, or multi-unit development agreement. If you're going to be entering into more than one location, more than one franchise agreement, you will sign a development agreement that will say this is the time frame by which you need to develop. In addition, there may be an agreement in there for non-compete or personal guarantee. And those are every contract that you're going to be asked to sign will be in that FDD. And lastly, the third piece that's important is the audited financial statements of the franchisor. They will be in there 3 years of audited financial statements if the franchise company has been selling franchises for 3 years or more, or if they have sold in New York State. So what should you do before you retain counsel? I always suggest that you speak to as many franchisees in the system as you have time to call. Call. These are the people that are out there doing this business on a daily basis. They are in the trenches. They are your best resource. Ask them questions like, what do they like and dislike about the support and the training they've received? And would they do this all over again if they had that option? Do they feel they're getting value for the royalty payments that they are paying? And were the item 7 list of expenses that I mentioned before, that chart, were they realistic in as far as when they opened up their business? And how long did it take them to get into the black? These are all very, very important questions that I think you should ask and find out from the franchisees. You should read the 23 items of the FDD. They are written in plain English. And so, as I said, they're very important to read through them. Read the footnotes, in particular to items 5, 6, and 7. These are the financial disclosures, and there's a lot of important information in the footnotes. I would suggest you also have an accountant evaluate the franchisor's audited financial statements and make sure that the franchisor is financially sound enough to support the system that is in place today, but also the growth that the franchisor is anticipating based on item 20. Item 20 is our 5 charts, and they show how many corporate locations, how many franchise locations, and what kind of growth they're expecting. And based on that, is this franchisor financially strong enough? And looking at those financials. The other thing that I don't have on here, but I would strongly suggest, is work with a consultant. They can help you with finding franchises that they have already validated and vetted to a large degree. They're in their pool of inventory because they are already systems that they believe in and have worked with. So my suggestion is to work with a consultant and help them do the matchmaking to find a good franchise that fits your needs. So what should you take away from your review with us? Well, hopefully when you've finished with working with us, you will understand the obligations that you have to the franchisor, and you will have a clear understanding of what the franchisor will be doing for you. You will also understand key provisions that you're going to need to know for the future. For example, when do you need to give notice of your intention to renew the franchise? That's really important to have that date in the back of your mind. And can you transfer the franchise business from your personal ownership, let's say you own it by yourself or with your spouse individually, can you transfer that to a corporation or a limited liability company? And if you do, is there a fee for that? Can you sell your business? And what do you need to know in order to do that? How does that work? And what kind of support should you expect from your franchisor? For example, is your franchisor going to provide support helping you find the right location with using their demographics and understanding of what the ideal location would be for you and the size of the premises and so forth that you'd be leasing? Do they help you with that? So what are our services? Everything that we do for franchisees, we try to do on a flat fee basis. So we always start when we're doing our franchise document review by checking that the trademark is a fully live registered trademark with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office website. That's the cornerstone of what you're buying when you're buying a franchise. So we want to make sure that it is a live, valid, registered trademark. Second thing we do is we check state records in whatever state you're located in and where your territory is going to be. So if that's California, by way of example, we would check California corporate and LLC filings with the state, and we would suggest that you do a local Google search. And what you're looking for and what we're looking for is, by way of example, if you were buying an XYZ dog grooming franchise, we would want to check the trademark. That's the first step. But the second step is we would want to check to make sure that in California, if that's where your territory is going to be, that there isn't another grooming business or even dog-related business that's calling itself XYZ anything, because it could cause confusion to the public. Or even ZYX or YXZ or any combination of anything that would be confusing. Because under trademark law is actually not based on the registration. The priority rights to a trademark are based on using it. And so therefore, if there is a business locally that is calling itself ZYX dog grooming, let's say, that's in your proposed territory, we would want to know about it, because we would want to make sure that if you were sued by that other company for trademark infringement, that the franchisor would come in and hold you harmless and indemnify for any litigation that might ensue. We review items 1 through 4 of the FDD, of that franchise disclosure document. Again, 1 gives us background about the company, its parents, predecessors, affiliated businesses, competition in the industry and regulations in the industry, 2 about the people, and 3 and 4 the litigation. And we investigate any litigation that is disclosed. We thoroughly review the franchise agreement. Again, that's your contract with the franchisor. We go through that cover to cover, making note of your obligations to the franchisor, franchisor's obligations to you, any concerns that we have, and things we see that aren't typical. We then set up a time to go over everything with you. It's typically a 2 to 3 hour call to review everything with you. It's a great block of time to ask questions, address concerns, and make sure you have a clear understanding of what you're entering into. We negotiate any clarifications or revisions to the franchise agreement with the franchisor. Again, some franchisors are willing to negotiate and some are not. Regardless, they are never heavily negotiable documents, so at best there might be a few revisions that we would be making. We will also draft an addendum to the franchise agreement that encompasses any of those clarifications or negotiations. And everything that I just described that we do, if it's a single unit, we do it for a flat fee that hasn't changed in over 11 years. And if it's for a multi-unit or area development agreement and you want us to review that agreement as well, there is an additional fee, and that fee hasn't changed in the last few years. So it's very comprehensive, I think, and a very reasonable fee for our services. We also can set up your entity for you as a corporation or LLC, limited liability company, and we do that for a flat fee as well. That'll include the filing fee and getting your tax ID number and other things. We can do that for you as long as you're not using retirement funds. If you are using your 401k or IRA retirement funds and rolling them over, you will need to work with one of the companies that will structure that for you. Lastly, we do a tremendous amount of lease reviews, commercial lease reviews, retail and office. We work with many franchise companies as their recommended law firm to do that for their franchisees all over the country. For example, we work with Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa franchisees, Sylvan Learning Center franchisees, Forenza Pizza franchisees, Scout and Molly's franchisees, and others. And we would love to work with you if you're going to be looking at a brick and mortar franchise at the time when you're ready for the lease review as well. We do that for a flat fee as well, and our leases, unlike the franchise agreements, are extraordinarily negotiable documents, and we take a heavy hand in negotiating pretty much every section of the lease, including adding clauses that protect you and even can save you on your bottom line every month. Lastly, we can help you down the road when you're ready to sell the business, or even currently if you're looking to buy an existing franchise business. So those are all services that we can help you with, and would look forward to that opportunity. So this is Nancy Lanard, and we are franchise attorneys. My firm is Lanard and Associates. My website is lanardandassociates.com. My email is nlanard@lanardandassociates.com, and my phone number is 215-392-0030, extension 101, and I would love the opportunity to speak with you, to be a resource for you, to help you any way that I can. It would be my pleasure. So please feel free to call me or to email me, and as I said, I'm happy to be a resource in any manner that I can for you. And I thank you so much for listening to my presentation and look forward to hearing from you.